It's a Veterans Day weekend here at 5 in the morning. Here at Denny's on off of Silas Dean along the commercial district here in Weathersfield. Uh, Having my meal here. Um, this is my breakfast at Denny's. Um, Now, this may look like nothing to you, or like, like yesterday's breakfast to you, but actually, it's interesting. It's kind of metaphoric. I mean, it's symbolic. Um, I was at a homeless shelter in Phoenix, Arizona, and one day I was having lunch, and it's my prim and proper way of having lunch. And this beautiful, beautiful young Latin man came up next to me with his tray and his plate and his food. And when I got done staring at him, I noticed what he was doing to the food on his plate. I looked down and I noticed on his plate that he was like taking all these food choices and categories and he was like blending them all into one indiscernible mass is the only way I could describe the way this beautiful young Latin man was preparing his lunch as he sat across from me. And it was interesting because it was like, and this was like 4 years ago, and this was, I kind of I recoiled when I saw this because it was like, oh God, it was like, I mean, how could he, make a mess of like this meal that he's been given here for free at this homeless shelter, this Salvation Army or whatever in Phoenix, Arizona. And but that was 4 years ago, and since then I have learned the symbolism of that meal that he like I don't know, like I thought destroyed, but it was like just made a mess of on a plate in the Salvation Army cafeteria in Phoenix. Because whether it was San Antonio, Texas, or Denver, Colorado, Golden, Colorado, a lot of people have gone into making a mess out of the meals I have eaten over the last 4 years throughout the country. I remember eating out of a can in San Antonio, Texas, on oh my God, I mean, what day was it? It was like May Day or something like that. It was like this national pride thing, and I remember having to eat out of a can of Chef Boyardee in San Antonio, Texas, because the food was so bad that was served in any of the restaurants. I mean, you could pick. I mean, I don't think they had Denny's, but it's just, uh, you know, Applebee's, or whatever they had, and it was, and this is like I'm like leaving Burger King behind, in search of honest like food, you know, prepped and served by like people that know what they're doing, and I just couldn't find it in San Antonio, and it's like, wow, you can't eat in San Antonio. You're gonna have problems throughout the country, and sadly, in San Antonio, it didn't surprise me because I'd been 2 years in or so on the street, and I had my share of Wendy experiences and Burger King experiences and McDonald's experiences, and I knew how bad food can get and how bad food they can give you throughout the country. So, when I hit San Antonio, it was like, it's like I thought I could count on you guys. And it's like, well, hey, no. You know, the date, the time, the place, the year, whatever, it's bad. And like, so, but be sure to pay. Don't walk the check. Don't, it's, hey, we'll call the police, or I'll call my mother or someone like that, so. Anyways, and on this Veterans Day, I'm sitting here in this Denny's at 5 a.m. and I'm with my mash of breakfast, and I'm thinking of that beautiful young Latin man that sat across from me from the shelter years ago in downtown Phoenix at a homeless shelter, and just made a mess out of his meal in front of me, and didn't even bust his table. Oh, what mother raised him?